Welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm crossing my fingers that I don't screw this one up. I got like 12 minutes into recording an episode and I went to pause it because I was getting so hot because my little mini fireplace was on and I hit the wrong button and I just screwed the whole thing up. It was so funny. But I'm back and we're back and we're going to dive into this episode. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I can tell you this. Kind of the heartbeat of this episode, right, is about this, that our actions are the voice of our heart. Actions are the voice of the heart. And what that really means is that our actions reveal our true feelings, our intentions, way more than our words. Because we've all been sweet talked by somebody, haven't we? Haven't we? You know, there's a lot of people out there that talk a good game. They smile to your face while they stab you in the back. You know, and I can appreciate a sweet talker, but these days, at this age, at 57, I'm way more interested in people, like who they are being, what they're doing, right? I love a good orator. I love somebody who can speak, right? Who can speak. But you got to be able to back that shit up with some true blue, real deal, Holyfield, actions. And how these shows kind of come together, for those of you who might be new to the show, welcome if you are, is I always just kind of let my spiritual team, I just kind of let my inner teacher and whatever is rising up in the culture or around me to inspire me. I don't really plan these, like a lot of things. I don't do a ton of planning. When it comes to this show, I like to just see what is rising up in my consciousness, what's catching my curiosity. And so I had kind of decided that I wanted to do an episode on this. And then lo and behold, my spiritual team, they're so friggin' funny, STOTJ. So I decide, all right, I want to do a thing on actions are the voice of the heart and really get down to the nitty gritty about what's in our hearts and who we really are, right? And we just happened to watch a show last night, a movie, and it had a bunch of my favorite actors in it. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Kyle Chandler, a bunch of fantastic actors and actresses, right? And the story just happens to be around, the basis of the story is that there's these cops and they find a rip, which is basically they find all of this like cash just stowed away in this house. And it's fascinating because you get to watch the character of these people. You get to watch these characters portray their character and see what are they going to do, right? They could just take some of this money. They could steal some of this money. They could report it all, like whatever. And you feel like this kind of dramatic tensions around like what are the actions of these people going to be? Like what's the voice of their heart? You know what I mean? I thought it was fantastic. So I encourage you to watch it. Some really, really, really great moments in that film. And so when I was thinking about doing this podcast, I had been kind of like gathering these little moments and stories from my own life. So I'm going to be doing some storytelling today, which I'm really excited about. I got like 3 stories I'm going to share with you. And my purpose in sharing stories is that stories often reveal personal stories, but my personal stories are the ones that I choose to tell. It's because they're revealing some sort of universal spiritual principle that applies to all of us. And that's just the way that I teach, is through storytelling. And my hope with this podcast, again, if you're new here, welcome, is always to either educate, to elevate, to enlighten, to entertain, to move people emotionally, right? That they have some sort of emotional connection or feeling or whatever. My job is never, of course, to waste your fucking time. So hopefully I'm not doing that today. All right, let's just dive in. So this idea that actions are the voice of the heart, like what does that mean? So I kind of believe this. In our heart of hearts, who we truly are, when we come through, I always say factory installed is love, right? I believe that who we are is love. I believe that kindness is also who we are. So love is who we are. Kindness is who we are. That comes in baseline, like installed. And we have so many opportunities in our lifetime to basically extend that love, to extend that kindness, to be who we actually are. Like, I think that's the whole gig, right? I think the voice of our heart is love and kindness, compassion. And then our actions get to back those things up. A lot of people can talk a good game. Like there's a lot of great orators out there. Like I said, we've all been sweet talked a little bit by from somebody. But I'm way more interested at this age, right? The age that I am now. I was like, yeah, that's great. I love somebody who can really speak, powerful speakers. But if what you're saying is not in alignment with what you're doing, we get that cognitive dissonance. Like I'm not a fan, you know what I mean? And we've all done it at different points in our life, right? None of us are perfect. We've all done it. I'm just saying, my goal as I continue to age, as I continue to grow, as I continue to become more fully and truly myself, is to really have my actions speak, right, for the content of my heart, for the content of my character. And so, if we're acting from the heart, right, what does that look like? So I'm like, let me give you some examples of some things that I experienced throughout this past like month or so. Okay, so I drive a car. It's like 16 years old, so it's not that big of a deal, right? So it's like, and this particular car, um, it's for whatever reason, when it came off the assembly line, something happened like with the paint. So many, 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 many years into it, right? They sent out a recall saying like, hey, these particular colors, and of course it was like the pearl white and the whites, the white cars or whatever, meaning the one that I had, has a problem with sometimes with temperature fluctuations, like whatever. So, it got repainted in certain areas as it was flaking, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I'm telling you all this is that I don't get too hung up, right? Let me say this. I'm a person who does love beautiful things. I like nice things, but I also want things to be practical. And cars just like aren't my real thing. Some people love them, obsess over them, wax them. I keep my car clean. I try to, do a good job on it, take good care of it. But it's not like cars really aren't my thing. But there's a reason why I'm telling you all of this. So one day I'm at the store. I come out of the store, and as I'm walking towards my car, and it's a wicked windy day out, I see this little piece of paper like flapping on my windshield. And I'm like, oh, maybe a yoga student, somebody I know, like recognized my car, left me a note or whatever. And I pick up the note, and I actually have it right here. I still have it. I was saving it so I could use it for the show at some point. Okay, I'm going to show it to you. It's like this. I'm going to hide the phone number. But it's just like a torn piece. It's like a rectangular piece of paper. When she tore it out of her little notebook, it like totally ripped. It almost ripped her name off of it. But this is what the note says. It says, "The wind took my car door and hit your car. Sad, sad little face. So sorry!" Exclamation point. And then her name and her phone number. And I didn't know what to expect. So I look at my car and I see that my car is white, right? And I see that there's like red, like scratch marks. Now, not deep, not whatever, but like when I tried to like just wipe it off with my finger, I'm like, oh, that's not coming off. I have to buff this or do something with it, right? No big dent or anything. It's just a tiny little bit of damage. And I stood there and it was freezing out and it was windy and I'm looking at this thing and I just thought, wow, like how cool is that? That Molly did the right thing. Like the voice of her heart was, because look, I was in the store. I would have come out. I never would have known who it was. I wasn't looking at the car park next to me. I was on a mission. I had shit to get, groceries to get, whatever it was. And I'm just going in. And I came out and I was so moved. I was so impressed that she could have just tucked tail, snuck away, little thief in the night or whatever, right? I never would have known. I never would have known. I just would have come out. I would have been like, oh, somebody dinged my car. Great. And I understand, like, they don't know when I'm going to come out of the store. Maybe she had places to be. She's not going to stand around and wait for me. She did the right thing and she left me this note. And it really was like the Grinch. It was like my hat grew 3 sizes that day because I just thought, oh my God. And I'm like, you know what, Molly? I'm going to give you a call. So I see the number. I get in my car, and I called her up. And she's like, hello. And I said, hey, Molly, da 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 da. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, 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 don't worry about it. My car's like, my car's at that time, I was like 15. I'm like, my car's 15 years old. It's no big deal. I said, I just really want to say thank you. Like, I want to commend you for actually leaving me a note and letting me know and leaving me a number. Like, that was a really cool thing. And I said, don't worry. She was so apologetic. And I was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, Molly, whoever you are, I don't know your last name. You're a real one. Your parents raised you right, or you raised yourself right, or whoever planted those seeds of your character right? She revealed her character. Her actions were the voice of her heart. And I thought that's a person you'd probably want to be friends with. You know what I mean? So that's story number one. And maybe you've done something like this before. There was like again, I keep thinking about the movie The Rip, right? There's an opportunity for you to do something, to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing. And Ryan Holiday just wrote a book called Right Thing Right Now. And that's the work, right? Is to the best of your ability to do the right thing right now and let your voice speak. Let your actions speak. The content of your character is. That's number one. Okay, number two. If you listen to last week's story number two, if you listened to last week's episode, you heard that I had kind of a tough week. My childhood sweetheart, childhood friend died. And also we had to say goodbye to one of my 15-year-old pup, Scoots Magoots. So it was like tough. Okay. And I've talked about, maybe I've talked about it before. I don't know, but I certainly talked about it, I know, online, because one day I posted a picture of me in a dress and people lost their minds. And I was like, guys, relax. I was like, I said, I have one dress. I wear this dress to funerals. I wear this dress to weddings, whatever. It's the one thing that I have. And they were like, you clean up nice, whatever. People were really, really sweet. It was a picture, in fairness, it was a picture of me and my sweetie, and we were both dressed up nice for my nephew's wedding or whatever. And there was a big hullabaloo about seeing me in like a dress. I thought it was funny. So I'm like, okay, there's the wake and there's the funeral, and I'm like, it's January. I already knew my friend was a retired police officer and detective, and beloved, just beloved in the community. And I knew it was going to be because the police always come in first and they go through the line. And then I just knew it was going to be a massively long line. And I'm like, do I really want to be standing outside in a dress? And the answer was no. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to like do or what I'm going to wear. I'm like, I got to go get some pants, I got to go to the store and get some pants. I got to figure something out. So I go to the store and I'm like walking around and I'm like, ugh. So I found all these different kinds of pants, and, I'm going in the dressing room and, I'm like, I'm like really sad. Like all of this is fresh between Scoot and my friend and, my friend's mom and just like all of it. And the world is just heavy. Renee Good had just been murdered. There's just like all these things like going on. And I'm like, the last thing that I know how to do is like, especially when I'm in that, I'm like, I don't know fashion. Like my fashion is jeans and chucks, right? Jeans and sneakers and friggin' hoodies and sweatshirts. Like that's my style. I don't dress fancy. You know what I mean? And so I'm in I'm in the room, I'm in the changing room, say, well, you go and you try on the clothes. And I go in and there's nobody like manning the place. You just kind of like walk in, and I go in and after like trying on like 8 pairs of pants and a sweater and this and this and this, I kind of get it narrowed down to like these 2 pairs of pants. And I really just need an opinion. First of all, I'm like, I don't even know what kind of shoes I'm going to wear with these. Like, I'm vegan, so I don't wear leather shoes. And I'm like, what? I don't know. Do I wear a flat? Like, I don't want to wear flat. I'm like, what am I? You can just hear it, right? Even in my voice right now. So I come out of the changing room to look in the mirror, another mirror. And I come out like a couple of times because I'm trying on different sizes and stuff. And every time I come out, there's nobody else with me. And then I narrow it down to these 2 pairs of pants. And all I'm thinking in my head is it would just be so nice if I had a second opinion who could like help me. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, what I really need right now is like a girly girl. Like I really need somebody who knows how to do all the clothes and fashion stuff. And I hear somebody else come into the dressing room. And I'm like standing in my room, like talking to myself, like, oh, what? I don't know. And then I step out to use the mirror the mirror out in the kind of like the hallway inside the dressing room. And this young woman is like stepping out. Now I size her up right away. I look at her. I'm like, her hair is done. She has like long, like auburn hair, brunette hair, beautiful. And it's like, I don't know if it's naturally wavy or she curled. I don't know what she did, but she was looking good, right? Her makeup was done. She was stylish. She was neat. I was like, okay, this is a person that knows what they're talking about. So I just said to her, excuse me. I go, can you just tell me if you think these pants are too small or too big or whatever? And she looks at them. And she goes, well, she tilts her head, so sweet. She's like, well, what are you wearing them for? And I said, a funeral? Now, this is the first pair of pants. And I could just tell because I'm hypersensitive and hyper aware of people's body language and what their face is doing, what their eyes are doing, whatever. And I see the slightest like tilt of her head, right? Which tells me it's like, maybe these aren't pants I should be wearing to a funeral. They looked a little too casual. Like, they were black, they were flowy, they were fine. And she's like, And I said, "Do you think these are too casual, like too casual for a funeral?" And she's like, "Well, maybe." I go, "Well, what if I tried them on?" And I said, "Because here's the thing. These are the mediums, the small pants. If I put on the small pants, like you can kind of see the pockets through them." I said, "I know that I'm going to probably be standing for a long time. I just want something comfortable, but that, looks respectable." And she's like, I said, "Well, can I try on the other size? Do you have a second?" She was so sweet. She's like, "Yes, of course." So I pop in, boom, boom, change my pants, come back out. And she's like, "Oh, I see what you mean about the pockets." And I said, "Okay, I have one more pair. Can I just pop those on and you can tell me what you think?" And she's like, "Yes." And she's standing there. She's like holding these clothes. She's being so kind to me. And so she, and I come back out and I have on the third pair, the second pair, but like the third ones that she's looking at. She goes, "Okay, these are the ones." She's like, "Do you see how there's a pleat in the front?" And I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "This makes it seem more like funeral worthy." And she's like, "And I just want to say, I'm so sorry you're going through this." You guys, she was a peach. She was a total sweetheart. And so she breaks down like the pleat and da 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 da. And then she says to me, "Well, what shoes are you going to wear with these?" And I literally grabbed my head and I was like, "Fuck if I know." I go, "Look, I don't dress up. Like, I don't have like I don't know." She's like, "Okay, you could either do like a flat or you could do like a chunky boot." And she literally just starts breaking it down for me. And I'm just standing there and all I'm thinking is like, STOTJ, spiritual team on the job. They sent me a little dressing room angel to help me figure this out because my brain is not functioning and I don't know girly stuff very well, and I was like, "Okay." She breaks it all down for me. And at the end, I say, "I just have to say, thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much for taking the time to like spend with me and help me. You really didn't have to do it. And it's not lost on me that you've done it. And I just appreciate it so much." And she's like, "Oh my God, of course." I go, you just like know this fashion stuff. Like I'm amazed right now." And she looks at me and she says, "Oh, well, that's because I'm a photographer." And I said, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm a photographer." I go, "What kind of photographer?" She's like, "Well, I do weddings, but I also do branding." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Do I know you?" So she pulls out her card. It's like a dot card, which means like she can just tap it to my phone and it pulls up like all of her links, her email, her website, or like her socials, like whatever. She pulls it up and I immediately see that we have several people in common. So we make this connection. And I said, "I'm going to start following you on Instagram." And she's like, "Great. Then I'll know like, I'll see your name and blah, blah, blah." And we have this whole exchange. And I was like, she did not have to do that. That was an action is the voice of the heart moment if I've ever seen one. She was so incredibly kind. And I really needed that help. And I ended up like finding these chunky vegan boots, right? Then I was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect." Bing, bang, boom. I was in and out, and it just worked out fantastic. And I was so grateful. This is the thing that we don't realize, you guys. You know that old saying, which is like, "Be kind, be kind, be kind. Everybody you meet is fighting some sort of a battle." So often we don't know what people are going through. And a tiny bit of kindness, man, does it go a long way. And that was so incredible. And then the last one, this is a tiny little story, and I'm not tooting my own horn. It just is a reflection piece that I thought this was also worth mentioning. So when I got to the funeral, I was standing in line with a bunch of my childhood friends from high school. It was like four guys that I grew up with. And when I was standing next to them, all of a sudden I just pulled out, I had some Tic Tacs in my pocket. And I pulled out the Tic Tacs and I offered them to my friend Gut. And I was like, "Gut, you want a Tic Tac?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You trying to tell me something?" And I was like, "No." I go, I said, anytime I pull out Tic Tacs, always offer them. My thing with Tic Tacs is you always have to take two, not just one. So I give him two Tic Tacs and he looks at me and Kay. He's like, Kay, you telling me something? And I go, no. I go, snacks are always better when they're shared. And that's what I said to him. I go, it's just that snacks are always better when they're shared. And he looked me right in the face and he goes, yeah. He goes, I remember study hall. Because we went to Lawrence High together, right? We were in study hall together. And in study hall, anytime I had snacks, because he always sat close to me, behind me, next to me, whatever, I was always sharing my snacks with Gut. And it was just this moment. And it was so nice because you forget, right? Like you forget sometimes like how you were back then. And you can always hope, like, was I kind? Was I nice? Look, I didn't always get it right. That is for fucking sure. But it was nice to have a little glimpse of that younger version of me, that kid who shared her snacks. And I was like, oh, I was really happy that I was nice to you. Nice to you at least, you know what I'm saying? So that was really fantastic. And the thing is, you guys, is that we have so many opportunities. These three stories, these three, yeah, let's say these two stories, right? The first one with Molly and the second one with Christina. Oh, and that woman's name, P.S., her name is Christina Olson. Look her up. It's like Christina Olson Studio. She's a Boston and New Hampshire wedding photographer and branding photographer. And she was fantastic. And you spell Christina, Kyrystina, Olson, Olsem. She's great. So go hit her up. Tell her you heard about her on my podcast. People could have done any other number of things. She could have just told me she was too busy. Molly could have just, not left a note and driven away, and I would have found my Kyle with a little ding on it, But it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing when people, throughout all the day, all the months, all the years of our lives, when we have opportunities come up, again, right thing right now. And this is my encouragement. I really, really, really want you to listen to the voice of your heart. Listen to that inner teacher. Listen to the kindness that you are. Listen to the love that you are. When you listen to that voice, it doesn't mean that everything is going to be easy. A lot of times doing the right thing, doing the kind thing, might not be the easiest thing or the most popular thing. But we all have a voice of the heart. And when we're listening to that inner voice, when we're listening to that inner teacher, it's important that we do this whenever we are trying to, like when we have a choice to make, when we're doing decision making, when we find ourselves in, in a situation that we need to evaluate and say, like, okay, what's the next right smallest step? Like, what's the next right smallest step? And, I always say, like, I would rather you be true blue than popular. I would rather you be willing to be unpopular by doing the right thing, by answering the call of your heart and showing the content of your character. And it won't always be easy, but it's a lot easier to live with yourself. When people have regrets, I think it takes a toll. Right? It takes a toll, and especially if there's no tools for learning how to do self-forgiveness, right? Because we're all going to screw up. So, and it's really easy to think, oh, the voice of the heart. I'm not saying abandon all critical thinking, right? We want to listen to the voice of the heart and the voice of reason. Like we want to be smart about things, right? But being kind doesn't cost us anything. I did a whole podcast about this a long time ago. Being kind doesn't cost us anything. And being kind, right, is a natural extension of the truth of who we are. And one of my teachers, Ken Wapnick, he said it beautifully. He's a Course in Miracles teacher. He's dead. He's no longer with us. But he always used to say, kindness is who you are. And he says, so we don't have to work. We don't have to work at being kind. We don't have to be like, try to be kind. Like everybody's like, oh, I got to try to be kind. I got to try to be loving. I'm like, no, being loving, like love and kindness is who you are. The work, Ken would say, is to be vigilant for when you are unkind. That's the work, is to catch yourself going down like, shitbag road. When you're starting to make that questionable choice where the world is tempting you, right? The world is tempting you. And whether it's with money or sex or fame or whatever the thing is, whatever it's tempting you with, you're like, we have to be vigilant for when there's that temptation to be unkind. Because the world is always going to try to pull you off character with all kinds of offers and whatever. And it's really, really important that you listen to the voice of your heart and to let your actions reflect that. I think that's all I have to say about it for now. I mean, I could talk about this like forever, 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 but I'm going to wrap it up with that. Okay. So, wherever you go, may you and your actions be a blessing. Wherever you go, may you leave yourself and the people and the place and the animals better than how you found them. Bye.